Hey guys, it's Richard Rose Hill and welcome. Ooh, I can't talk today. Hey guys, it's Retro Rose here and welcome back to our Life Now and Forever demo. We had just got done talking to our mom and kind of getting a look around like our house, just the outside of it because we started waiting for the keys and our mom told us to kind of go explore. So that's what we're doing right now. So let's get back into it. Bending in between the dark trunks and bright leaves were two lines stamped out through the grass. They went in opposite directions. It was a crossroads. One led more towards where the neighbors was, and back further right to the edge of where the forest started. The other went completely into the trees, a walking path for people who lived there. You stood there at the start of the turning point in the woods in your life, feet poised to move over the stirring thicket floor. There was a path here that was definitely more worth trying than the other. You were sure of it. Something on the inside just told you so. And your quest continued. Once you went through the foresty path, you had truly entered the wild woods. Nothing else surrounded you any longer. Nature spread across the land, with the narrow dirt line and fence being the only sign anyone had walked in the spot before you. People were only visitors here. Golden and red leaves gently rustled against each other in the thick clumps, with each tree's branch flowing into the others nearby. It was enough to keep the sky and sun out almost completely, but the leaves burned bright with the light basking over them from above. The foot-made passage continued to twist around higher into the mountainside, farther than you could see. You preferred the neighborhood over the woods. With impatience growing over you like all the dumb moss on those trees, you forced yourself to push deeper into the thicket. The quiet bumble that exists here in the forest, away from the town, popped from a sudden, unnatural clatter. You froze. It was a whooshing thumping and stirring up in the leaves, like something had crashed into them. You knew for sure that wasn't the wind. It had to have been an animal or a person, and it came from right over there. You pick up a stick to throw that way just to see if something happened. While keeping your gaze trained forward, you bent down and felt around for a good-sized branch or something else that you'd be able to throw far, but still have enough weight to get through the trees. Once you wrapped your fingers around the chunk of bark, that worked. You stretched your arm back behind your head and then threw the stick in front of you. It flung forward, noisily disappeared into the bushes. You couldn't see where it landed. The leaves swallowed it whole. But that's all that happened. Nothing jumped out at you. It's just quiet again. You decided to just take a peek. You crouched lower and snuck off the path. It was harder to keep your footing on the slanted, untrimmed ground. When you reached a really tree-cluttered spot, you crashed at the branches and pushed them aside in order to poke your head through. You moved them away, the same way you'd open up a set of curtains, but it was a lot harder to do. The tiniest branches couldn't take the bend and snap from the pressure. You could feel the splintered ends of the plants scratch a little at your face and clothes. It wasn't as secretive of a check as you'd hope it'd be. On the other side of the tree line was still the woods, but kind of empty part. There was a lot of open ground with no trees or bushes. Growing in a ton of leaves were gathered into piles. Past that curtain, the trees were back and even more closely pressed together than they were by the path. It was mysterious. There was nowhere easy to go, and nothing seemed out of place until... Hello! There was a shout and a new whirlwind of leaves rushing through the air. From underneath one of the piles was a kid. You knew that was going to happen. You couldn't hold the leaning forward position any longer, stumbled forward completely into the open area. You stare at them, and they looked right back at you as everything they'd thrown into the air gently drifted back down. Hi. I got the stranger giggling. Wait here. The jumping jack kid hopped again, and this time it was to get off the ground. They dashed to the opposite edge of the open space, leaves scattering behind them, dropping out of their clothes and being kicked up by their steps. You were already wondering what was going to happen next. From behind one of the tall, crooked trees, the kid began throwing sticks and other plants pieces around. They were uncovering a hidden treasure, a big brown bag. They had to use both hands to lift the pouch and get it over their head. The thick strap pulled tight under the strain of the weight attached to it. The line of their mouth looked just as strained. The stranger huffed when they released the bag from their fingers, letting it rest completely across their shoulder. You heard the stiff bumping around his side from your position way over here. It was a really full bag. But it didn't slow that kid down. They ran back at full speed to meet you where you were. When they were in front of your face, they gave a wave and asked a question. Oh, whoa, does your hair have two colors? You suddenly had a stranger tilting her head all the way to the side, trying to get a better look at your hair. It's pretty cool, right? Whoever they were hummed a happy reply. Yeah, it's fancy. The kid then kept talking like the whole thing didn't even happen. Hi, are you a girl too? Yeah. She sung her own praises in a chiming tone. Both girls, both girls. And all of a sudden, a leafy girl seemed to remember to introduce herself the way most people do. Hi, I'm Tamar. That's a tree. Oh, tamarack. Tamarack, yeah. Yeah, you're right. The tamarack is a kind of tree. I like it a lot. So what's your name? I'm Rose. Oh, hi, Rose. She greeted you with a finger spread wave of her hand, as sweetly as if you'd known each other, and she'd done it 100 times. Do you like it, your name? Yeah. I didn't realize. So I put my nickname is Rose, and my other nickname is Rose. Oh, all right. Why are you here? Where did you come from? Are you visiting? She piled on one question after the other, letting them bubble out like her laughter. I'm not some kind of tourist. My mom and me moved into this town. Tamar gasped. Her large eyes opened even wider. They were full of sparkles. Me too, I'm new too. I moved to live with my Omi and Oppa. They have a house here and I'm gonna be there now. I've heard of that before. Yep. Why did you move in with them? What about your parents? They're busy and not at home. I wouldn't go to school or do anything if I stayed there. So I'm going to live with Omi and Oppa right now. Okay. But her explanation wasn't fully finished yet. And I'm busy too. You are? Yeah. I've been here 5 days and it's still really good. There's so much out here. I probably won't be finished for a long, long time. Months maybe. This is my very first day in Golden Grove. Wow, that's barely different at all. We're a match. She frowned for extra. She furrowed her extra short eyebrows as much as she could as a new idea came to her. Hey, we're both girls and new. When we were the same age too, I'm 10. You're 10, so am I. Hooray! Same age forever. Happily, Tamar held onto the worn strap of her big bag and bounced up and down in place. You decided that it was a perfect time to talk to her about what you were doing. Hey, I got hit with a paper airplane a while ago. Was that you? Oh, yeah, you got it? Yes, I got it. That's right here. Ooh. She flung her arm up over her head in celebration, knocking her bag out to her side. It made a thump sound when it swung back against her. My aim is good. You blink at her in disbelief. You done it. You found the mystery person who made that strange paper plane message. Hmm. How come you sent me a note? I didn't send a note. What is that supposed to mean, hmm? You thought you knew what disbelief was a second ago, but hearing that made you feel in ways you were never had before. The stunned look on your face got Tamar to add more. That paper I used wasn't mine. It was litter in the woods. I picked it up and put it in my bag because I couldn't leave it there on the ground. Then I saw you standing in the road and I just had an idea. I could do something fun with the garbage by making it a paper airplane for you. So you didn't write anything on it? Yeah, I didn't. Oh, I didn't look at it. It was just trash on the floor because I could have said something bad or important, and because you were sending it to someone else. Oh, okay. That's all she said. Tamar couldn't tell you anything more. The person who wrote that strange message for you was still a mystery. You hadn't found him even after meeting the paper plane person. You were thrilled the mystery had deepened. This was so much more exciting than you had thought. You started thinking more and more about this, making plans in your head. Tamar could tell something was going on with you. Rose, what did the paper say? Was it funny? Do you think random stuff is funny? It was short and all the parts were different lines. It wrote, hello, go out, hide out, Rose Smith. What's so weird? Who would write that? I know, that's what I was thinking. It's strange. She took a big hop closer to you, a smile growing across her face as she landed. You should keep going, I'll come too. The paper isn't very old. It could have gotten wet or eaten by bugs if it was out here in the forest for a while. We could track down and ask them what they were doing. Yeah, I could use more eyes for looking. Woohoo! Tamark snatched up the nearby stick off the ground and directed the pointy end forward in the way you had come from. We're going to find the litterer who put weird things on paper. And so you started to walk along brown falling bush again with your new partner in adventure. In the adventure, Tamara came along from behind you with eager skipping steps. As she was right, you were going to find that note writer person who knew your name. Soon as you reached the head of the path, you were at a crossroads once more, but you brought back knowledge and this new girl with you. All right, we did that one. It's where you were, and down there is just a car road. You stood at Tamar's side, gesturing around animatedly with both hands. You didn't know if that helped her understand better, but you couldn't keep still. But there's that way over there on the other side. You bent your knees, stretched out both arms, and pointed across the forked passage to where the second dirt imprint was. Tamar couldn't possibly miss it with your direction. With her lips shut into a tight line, she nodded rapidly with seriousness. But only for a second, and she was perky again. She was having fun, only pretending like she wasn't always so silly. Yeah, okay. Down the tree path for you and me. The decision easily made. You and her crunching footsteps started again in unison. And still your quest continued. The path ended up being kind of a trick. You ran out of dirt to walk on for only a minute or two, and it became plain grass everywhere. Luckily, you only had to keep following the curved bend of bushes and tree trunks that separated the forest not separating forest from not the forest, you to know Jesus. Luckily, you only had to keep following the curved bend of bushes and tree trunks that separated the forest from not the forest to know you were going where you had planned to go. Tamar hummed a happy tune, not bothered by the change in the ground at all. You made eye contact and she started to speak words instead of music. Ooh. Ooh, Lord, excuse me. Ooh. I'm covering up some of the words. Sorry. It says, it's good that we're looking this way. Walking down the road that goes to town would have been a bad idea. Do your Omi and Oppa have a rule against that too? I don't know. Oh, then how come? Her eyes went wide. Whatever news she had to give must be something awful. Rose, you have no idea because you just got here, but I've seen it. The town here is bad. The buildings were probably new when my Oma and Oppa were 10. It's old and dusty. Nobody's going anywhere or doing anything. They just live in this place and sit around and do that forever. You could never have fun there. She spoke gravely, giving the topic a moment of silence. After that, her spark came back, lighting up her features. But it's all okay since it's right next to here. Tamarack hopped along, directing her stick to the tree line at her side. Everything in the forest is growing or dying or changing no matter what. You look at one spot, you look at a different spot, you look back at that spot, and you'll see something new you didn't even notice before. She spread her arms across and up in front of your face playfully. It's magic. Oh. Then as you strove even farther, something came into view. You almost didn't notice it at first. Stretching about as high as the trees, made out practically the same color of wood as the towers of sorts. The bottom of it was mostly empty space with a thick stick pole at the corners and only one full wall. There was little fake rocks stuck to the boards of all sides, properly for people to climb on. Above was an actual floor that was with a slanted roof and railing around. Some ropes dangled off of it in multiple places. The thought came to you that it had the same feeling as a tree house, except not in a tree. It definitely wasn't a real house. You might have found a local playground. A squealing whisper came right into your ear. Tamarack had noticed the wood thing too. Let's go see it. She pulled away from your side of your head to march towards the tower, or to the tower, without waiting for you to even answer. Curiously, you moved closer until you were right in front, and that's when you came to the shocking realization that there was something up in the top. I squinted, trying to see more clearly, and your neck bent back so far your head might fall off. You could make out a lumpy pile. Shout out. Hey, is someone there? Yeah, is someone home? A sudden sound of clinking ruckus from inside the fort made you flinch in place. It was scrambling, thudding noise that you knew came from movement. The lump stopped being just a lump. It shot up, bent right over the railing, peered down and saw you. Oh, it's the cutie! Oh, they're so cute. It was another kid. The silent standoff surprising played out between you and the stranger. Then altogether, one half of their mouth, one of their eyebrows, and one of their hands shifted upwards. The lopsided pose they made and the fact that they were at the top of the tower made them seem pretty in charge here. It's super cute. Who are you? Why are you in my backyard? Oh, they were in charge here. I'm Rose. Hi, Rose. After doing her own snooping, Tamarack skipped out from under the tower to join in the stranger's light of eye. She didn't miss a beat, waving and introducing herself to the new person. Hi, I'm Tamarack. Hey. At that, they pressed their palms on their hands hard against the railing, then used to kick their legs up over the side and throw themselves right off the fort. Whoa! There was a powerful crunch and a gust of wind when the person hit the ground. just a little to the side where they were. They landed on their feet, crouching into a ball and making the hood of their jacket flip over their head from the impact falling so far down. The person stayed like that for long enough that the leaves they stirred up settled quietly onto the grass again. Then the kids straightened themselves out with more poise than you have expected. Squared shoulders, chin up, with one hand they were pushed the hood down over their back again. They were confident and knew how to show it. That's that. That was so cool. Yeah, it was. They took hold of the open side of their jacket and flapped them out, shaking off bits of sticks and whatever other stuff that got on it while they collided with the dirt. Anyway, they shifted their head around to get their hair back over their shoulders the way it was before they jabbed a finger into their own chest. Hi, my name is Qlin. Qiulin. Both of Q's arms stretched out openly, gesturing to the wide world around. Autumn, nice to meet you. Ah. Q, Autumn, nice to meet you. What's your whole name? I am Rose Smith. That was perfect, Miss Rose Smith. But I've got a nickname that my friends call me Rose. Cool, I've got a nickname. It's Autumn. Aw, because, like I said, that's what my name means. You can use it if you want to. Alright. Wait. And also, how old are you two? Seems pretty similar to me. Me and Rose are the same age, 10. Q slapped his fingerless gloved hand against the front of his chest to show how taken aback he was. Whoa, so am I. Nobody else close by was exactly 10 before, and now there are 2 more. Wow. We came at the right time. You did. And now you two are going growing up someday, and I'm going to grow up too, but there's never going to stop us from being the same age. Cool. Give a big thumbs up. More 10-year-olds are better than less, but the talk you were having ended with a clear clap from Q to bring it to a close. Now we're people who know each other, I still want to hear what you're doing. I've lived my whole life in this town, in the neighborhood, in that house, and I've never seen either of you anywhere. There's got to be something going on. Tamarack wide, knowing gaze met yours, and you understood what you had to do. Well, you reached right into your pocket and presented the mysterious paper to Q, wanting your own explanation. Before you could even say anything about it, Q wheezed with a tight grimace. He looked stiff as the wood tower behind him, just like that. He stammered and babbled and pointed his finger all around the space that was sort of in front of you until the words finally came to him. A sorcerer? What? No, wait. Q threw his hands up higher towards his shoulders in a sudden movement, making sure nothing interrupted his train of thought. You're a thief. What? Shawty, I'm confused. That's why you're here, to rob my house. Why do you sound excited about that? You think I'm gonna rob you? Because I figured it out and I caught you. Do you really think I'm a robber? He got all fluttery with his laugh and waved his fingers. No, you're just a kid, but you got some good tricks. Q tucked one of his hands inside of his jacket. He moved it around in there, humming the whole time. There was some kind of secret pocket or compartment in his coat. Aha! Just as you thought. When he removed his hand, he was grabbing onto something, and it was a little notebook. The edges were bent up and crumbly, probably from being squished all of ways and a lot of times. And there were papers sticking out in weird ways that made you think that they weren't even attached to the book anymore. They were just smashed between other pages to keep them in place. But the thing that you noticed the most were the colors, tan and dark brown lines. Tamar squealed, bounding closer to you. She and you had the same idea in the very same time. It was the paper from the airplane. Q flipped open the book, tapped in a slow, considering rhyme at the front page with the back of his knuckles, and said you wanted to know without you having to do anything. That's my special paper with my notes on it. But it is not in my notebook. It was in your pocket. You must have done the thing that sleight of hand. Sleight of hand. That's what you did to snatch my stuff in the blink of an eye while I was standing there. So you're a magician or a pickpocket. That's all it could be. He shifted on his feet, putting one hand on his hip, using the other to make a wagging gesture with the notebook. So he was doing this. He was really confident in his accusations against you. Can you show me how you do it? But the wavy motion Q did was too much for the old notebook, and it bent in half upwards and downwards with the momentum of its owner's arm. Some of the paper slid out. They drifted to the ground lightly in the same way leaves fell from the trees. You stared right at them, sitting there freely like that. Q did. Maybe you just lost a paper and that's how Tamar found it. Yep, you dropped it. No, I could never lose things, he said absent-mindedly, still not paying attention to the paper clutter around his feet. They were pretty much just waiting to be blown away with the wind at this point. There are papers on the ground right now. Bashful. You point your fingers down. His eyes widened. He lifted a notebook over his head and twisted his feet outward, more to fully clear his view of the grass below. Finally, he spotted the missing pages. Oh, thanks. In the middle of talking, he dropped to his knees to scoop up the loose papers. It only took a second for each one to be gathered. So my thing is, if it came from his notebook, who wrote my name on it? Did he write my name on it? He leaned off his knee onto his butt and made a little oof sound. From there, oil, snatched stuff out my ear. From there, he got on his feet against the ground while pushing up with his hand, still clutching the paper so he could stand up again. With that successful rescue mission done, Q delicately flipped through the notebook, inserting the loose papers along the way between different pages. He went all the way to the end. The Q's complete book was pressed shut once more. Hey, that was really helpful. That really helped, Rose. A beaming smile directed right into your face almost had you covering your eyes. But before that happened, he looked away. Q twisted to the side to better rummage inside of a hidden pocket of his jacket. He made super sure that the entire stack of papers made it back safely this time. You heard a sigh of relief. In an even swooping move, Q tilted his head back over his shoulders to reveal his face again. The bright expression from before was completely gone. He had a smirk again. So did you see that? I didn't lose anything. And then only had to admit to yourself. Q spun with your reaction came out as a set of snickers. His cheeky mood drifted away once those were done. Q twisted to the side to better rummage inside of the hidden pocket in his jacket. He made sure that the notebook made it back to its normal spot. When he tilted his head back towards you, he was quiet and thoughtful. This is very mysterious. My paper vanished and 2 new kids appear in my backyard. All out of nowhere. I don't get it. I'm your neighbor now. I moved into the middle house on the street. Oh, the new neighbors. That's right. That's you. That makes so much sense. Except for her. His growing excitement scrunched into confusion. He brought a hand to his chin while also pointing squarely at Tamar with the other one. I'm pretty positive there was only one new kid moving in, unless you're Rose's mom. Tamar, completely tickled by the idea, giggled and covered her mouth with her hand. She didn't do a good job of stopping any laughter from getting out. No, I'm not a mom. I moved in with my Omi and Opa. Omi and Opa? Never heard of that. Is it another language? It's German and they're German. Cool, thanks. But they already had a house here. It's the gray one. Whoa, there's a granny who lives there and a guy that's her husband. That's your Omi and Opa? I think so, probably Omi. He has really long hair. Opa has short hair, and some of it is on his face. Omi and Opa means granny and grandpa. Yeah. Cute bobbed his head up and down with a great understanding. Granny and him have a kid now? Wow. Then Q shook his head side to side, flopping dark brown strands of hair around, trying to sort out his thoughts. But if you're the new neighbors, not thieves or sorcerers, how did you know that it was my paper? I didn't know for sure. What? You were showing my notes off to everyone you saw in the world? Yeah, that was kind of the idea. Huh? You knew it would be a long story, so you took a huge breath. Tamar put her fist up eagerly in her own preparation to talk about what she had done. I got here today with my mom. She was waiting for the real estate agent, so I had to go spend some time doing something. I went down to the road and a paper plane hit me in the shoulder and nobody was there. That was me. I threw it and ran away. It was great. I picked it up and opened the plane and saw stuff written on it. Thought the person throwing the plane was trying to give me a message, but it wasn't me who wrote it. Right. Then Rose went into the forest after I jumped out of the leaves as a surprise. Q nodded along, probably not getting everything you two were talking about, but curious enough to just keep listening. They're so cute. This art style is adorable. And then I talked to her about the paper airplane I found, and she told me what she said, that she made the plane but didn't write what was on it. I asked where she got it. Tamar chimed in again as her story continued to bounce back and forth between the two of you. I found it on the ground in the woods. It already had the note. I didn't think it was important at first. Rose made me wonder about it. We went out to discover the word writer, and it was you. Huh? He put his hand on his hip and thought hard about the info he'd learned from you. You're saying all this random stuff for fun? I guess so, but it was... If you are the one who wrote that, did you know my name that was on the note? And what were those supposed to mean? Hello, go out, hide out, Rose Smith. It doesn't make sense. Oh, Q Cactus cracked a smile and flicked out his arms to start his own explanation. That's just stuff I was gonna do. Counting 1, 2, 3 on his fingers, Q listed off each part of a letter simply. Hello, say hi to the people around. Go out, visit the town and up the neighborhood, or whatever. Hideout means go to my hideout. Q stopped counting down and pat the sturdy wood behind him with pride. Right here. If that's the hideout, why would you tell me it's a hideout? You seem alright. You can know about it. Don't tell anyone else. Alright, for your name being there, my mom and dad told me. Oh, they talked about how people were moving in next door and how they were going to be a kid my age and that their name was Rose Smith. It was cool to me, so I wrote it down. That way, I wouldn't forget. And even took it out and read the page a lot to make sure it'd be something I remembered. Looks like I forgot after all. Oh, thanks for trying to remember anyway. You're welcome. I'll remember this time definitely. But that's pretty crazy with the paper airplane. It's really impressive you two put the whole thing together. He was right. You and Tamar had been able to discover a whole story. It felt good. You were proud of yourself. But you realized suddenly how late it must have gotten. Your mom would start to worry soon, and that wasn't good. You turning thoughts were to put on pause when Hugh suddenly changed the subject. Hey, Rosemary, I'll walk you around back to the front. I want to hang out more. I should probably see how old my Opa are. They're pretty old and need some help sometimes. Yeah, we could all go back together. Okay. Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and cut it here. Thank you for joining me on another Mushy Monday, and we'll get back to this next Monday. But before we do that, I love this art style so far. The characters are super cute. It's so animated, and it just feels like so much love has been put into this. So I can't wait for the full game to come out. If it hasn't already, I have to double check. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next Monday. Bye.